Hi, Greg.
Why are we here?
Well, this is where we always film.
It's not. We usually film just there, beyond the green screen there.
For Weekly Scoop?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll explain in a minute.
Okay.
But on today's episode, James Bond is back. But is it going to be who you think it's going to be? Who knows? The iPod is being discontinued, Greg.
Can't cope with all this news, Jason.
And Little Shop of Horrors is being remade.
Oh, CGI.
Our regular viewers may know, Greg, that as well as doing these videos, we have jobs, don't we? And unfortunately, this has been one of our busiest weeks ever. So, in order to be able to still get the Weekly Scoop out, we're recording here today because it's much easier and quicker to edit the episode without the green screen.
Because it's a nightmare and I really struggle getting it done in time.
Yes, that's the reason. Greg!
Yes!
James Bond is back! New Bond movie?
Yeah, but is it out though?
No, it's coming in 2019. It'll be released on November the 8th in US, but slightly earlier here in the UK.
Well, if it's coming out in 2019, wouldn't that make Daniel Craig 74?
No, he's not that old. But it hasn't been confirmed whether it's Daniel Craig, although it is rumoured that it will be Daniel Craig returning as the James Bond. It hasn't been confirmed.
Here's my thing with the Bond things, right? I always think they should have a story of them. You know, like Doctor Who, they always change. I think James Bond should have a reason why they change. Because every time one changes, they just suddenly appear as the new Bond.
Because they're playing the same character, Greg.
I know, but there should be a reason. Like the one before should say, "I'm retiring," or "That's me done," or.
No,
do you know
because
what I mean?
it's the same character.
It's not though, is it? They're playing the same.
James Bond 007.
Yeah, they're playing that, aren't they? But they're not playing the same person.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
It's exactly the same person. James Bond 007 is the character.
Well, then he'd be 163 now, then.
Well, they set the films at different times, don't they?
No, they don't.
So you think that James Bond should regenerate like the Doctor? Okay. Tom Hardy was rumoured to be playing James Bond, wasn't he?
Who?
Tom Hardy. And then there was that rumour that Dominic Cumberbatch, he was playing James.
Dominic Cumberbatch?
Yes.
I like him.
He was playing James Bond.
He's very good, isn't he?
Then Tom Hiddleston, that was also a rumour too, wasn't it?
You can't have a Bond called Hiddleston.
The name's Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston.
Well, anyway, James Bond is coming back.
Right.
But we're not entirely sure if it's going to be Daniel Craig or not.
Honestly, I think it will be.
Do you?
Yeah.
Right. Well, Greg, moving on. We mentioned Doctor Who and regeneration there, didn't we?
Who's your best Bond?
Oh, best Bond. Sean Connery. Although I like Pierce Brosnan.
That's interesting.
How about you?
Timothy Dalton. He was
good.
He only did 2, but I thought he was great.
Why did he only do 2?
Oh, there's a long story about that.
Have we covered that before? Once
Sort
upon a
of.
time?
I think what happened was he well, it was something to do with the studio, and they wanted him to do another couple, but the studio had such a long gap. By the time it come back, he was too old to play the part, so they got Pierce Brosnan in.
Right. Anyway, talking to the Doctor and regeneration, we mentioned last week, as I'm sure everybody in the world knows, unless they live under a rock, that the Doctor will be a lady. You alright with that, Greg? Well, 2 previous Doctors have clashed over the casting of the new Doctor, Jodie Whittaker.
You're joking,
at Comic-Con. Peter Davison, who played the Doctor from 1981 to 1984, said he liked the idea of a male Doctor and he felt a little bit sad the character will no longer be a role model for boys.
He's asking for trouble, isn't he?
To which Colin Baker, who played the Doctor from 1984 to 86, so the next Doctor after him, said that those comments were ridiculous. He said you don't have to be of gender to be a role model. Can you be a role model as a person instead of a man or a woman?
It's that big debate again, isn't it, Jason?
Yes. So Baker is the father of 4 daughters. He said that 50 years of having a role model, said the 74-year-old. So sorry, Peter, you're talking rubbish there. Absolute rubbish.
Rubbish.
So, they had a little bit of an argument, didn't they?
Oh.
2 doctors arguing over a new Doctor Who's a Lady.
And I've never watched any of it, and I won't ever.
By the way, the trailer for the Christmas episode actually looks really good, and it might be an episode starring Peter Capaldi that I will watch.
I don't think I will. At all. Ever.
Do you know Steven Spielberg?
Didn't he do something to do with an alien?
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, he once said that virtual reality was a dangerous way of moving forward for the human race. However, he must have changed his mind, because this week we've seen trailers for his new film, Ready Player One, which is all about virtual reality, of which Steven Spielberg has said that virtual reality is coming whether we like it or not.
So he's changed his mind?
Pretty much, yeah.
That worries me.
Why?
Because he said there will never be a remake or a follow-on of Back to the Future.
And he's changed his mind. Virtual reality lets the viewer look in whatever direction they would like to look at, and not necessarily at the view that the director of a film would normally direct the viewer's view towards. Does that make sense?
Nope.
No. Have you tried virtual reality, Greg?
Yeah.
Could you imagine watching a film in virtual reality? So whilst the director has set something going up here in front of you, you could physically turn around and just look over there and not actually watch the storytelling that's going on in front.
Yeah, I don't think it will work.
Don't you?
No.
So you agree with Stephen? He'll be really happy.
I'll give him a call.
Do we?
Shall I phone home?
So, Apple have announced that they are killing off the iPod Shuffle and the iPod Nano. The last two standalone music players that Apple produced that haven't been updated for quite a long time.
I mean, what are they going to do then?
Now, those of us old enough to remember, Greg, will know that the iPod saved Apple as a company, didn't it? When it was first introduced back in the 90s, was it? Noughties, 90s?
It must have been naughty, wasn't it?
But Apple at the time was seen as a brand, an exclusive brand that only rich people could afford, as in iMacs and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's why I had 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, of course you did, Greg. Then they introduced the iPod music player. There were other music players around, but the brand and everything and the design really took off for the iPod music player, and we all wanted one. And then they were developed into different colours and different features. Some had video cameras, some didn't, all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that they've always done is played your music. So now, Apple are discontinuing the 2 editions of the iPod that are standalone music players and just going with the touch.
That always annoyed me.
Yeah.
When they changed the size of it. I just think it was fair.
The iPod Touch is essentially an iPhone without the capability to make calls over data. You can make calls on Skype and Messenger and things like that on it.
I don't know.
I'm trying to do news.
I don't know what happened. I just sung.
So yes, there will be no more iPod Nano or iPod Shuffle.
So
just the Touch.
So what's the Touch one then?
The Touch is...
It's like the iPhone.
Like I said, it's exactly like an iPhone, but without the ability to make cellular calls.
Oh, that's a silly idea. Because you know what they're going to do? This is what I think they're going to do. They're going to make this memory on these phones so big eventually. I think I broke that. So big eventually that you're only going to use your phone. And that, I don't like that, because if you go to the beach or something or whatever, you don't want to take your phone with you all the time, do you?
Battery life is a problem for me.
There you go. It's another one as well.
The iPod battery lasts longer, but obviously when you're making calls and things with your iPhone, it uses the battery up. So if that is going to become an all-in-one music player, phone, all of that, they need to improve the battery life a lot.
It'll be that thick when it's soon.
Yeah. The thing about the iPod Nano is that... the iPod Touch rather, is that you can download apps and play games and all of that on it, which is perfect for parents who don't want their children to have a phone, but their children are desperate to have the abilities of the iPhone, apps and all of that kind of stuff.
It's nice to get the radio on there as well, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Which you can't get on the other one.
No, because you can't download apps.
Exactly.
So, if you've got an iPod Nano or an iPod Shuffle, put it in a drawer somewhere. Who knows, it might be worth some money in years to come.
So... it's now time for films that was released a few years ago before they were released now, this week, at some point during the year.
That changes every week.
I've got it this week. No, I really have got it. films that was released quite a long time ago this week that we're going to talk about now.
What film are we talking about?
What is this section?
Old films.
Old films now. I like it. Hot Shots.
Hot Shots, starring Charlie Sheen.
Loved it.
Hated it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Because I love Top Gun.
Yeah.
And it was taking the mickey.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, well, yeah, a little bit.
I'm not a massive fan of those style of films.
It's got no fun.
Naked
honestly.
Gun are okay. The exception is the airplane movies because they did it properly. Everything else after that was a pale imitation of that kind of humour for me.
I don't know. I thought Hot Shots was a pretty good slapstick, random film.
Starred Charlie Sheen. Why do they put all of these names in it? Valeria Golino, Lloyd Bridges. Why can't these actors just call themselves normal names, Greg? Like Chris Smith. Kevin Dunn, Kirsty Swanson and Bill Irwin. It was directed by Jim Abrahams, co-director of Airplane. There you go, that's why you probably thought that it did a pretty good job of imitating the airplane style of humour.
We haven't said what year it was.
Oh, yeah, I did. Hot Shots is a 1991 comedy, Greg. So how many years is that?
That's... Right, I can do this.
26 years ago. It's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago, isn't it? But I loved it. I genuinely thought it was brilliant. And and here's one for you. I've never been over keen on Top Gun. I know. I don't dislike it. I've just never been one like you. You know, I'm not like that. So when this came out, I thought it was hilarious.
I went to the cinema to watch this movie.
You just said you hated it?
Yeah, and then I consequently hated it. Because in those days, Greg, you took a chance on a movie, didn't you? Just went to see it to see if you'd like it, rather than looking at Rotten Tomatoes and all that other stuff on the interweb. You just went, didn't you? So I went and felt like I had wasted £3.50 of my hard-earned paper round money.
I don't think you paid that much.
Do you know how much it is to go to the cinema now?
Yeah!
Like £10 a ticket.
And then you've got to buy the nachos and the...
You haven't got to, have you?
Well, yeah, you've got to buy popcorn and the Coke, and especially if it's like Superman, when you get the special cup, you've got to buy.
Cheese sauce on the nachos.
Cheese sauce, I can never make that. Have you tried making it?
Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, it must have done well.
It debuted at #1 in the US box office. It was both critical and commercial success, grossing over $180 million worldwide, and it holds an 83% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
But it must have done great because they brought a sequel out.
And it was chosen for the 1991 Royal Film Performance. Don't know what that is.
Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah, even worse.
It wasn't.
It was. Wasn't as...
That was like a Mickey take of Rambo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was great. It was.
I'm going to watch Top Gun. Looking forward to 2018 or 19 when Top Gun Maverick is released.
Is that a remake?
Yes. No, it's not a remake. It's a continuation of the story.
That's fair enough.
Because Tom Cruise is in it.
Of course he is.
Val Kilmer this week has made some comments about the film, but it seems like he doesn't know that much about it, so we don't know whether he's in it or not. That's it for today, Greg.
It's quite a long
Why do I always sound like Bamba Gascoigne when I say that's it? That's it for today, Greg.
I've just picked my nose.
On TV.
Well, I had an itch. I wasn't picking it, I had an itch.
We'll be back tomorrow with Tea and Toast, Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you then.
Try.